Intune friends. In today's video, we're going to speak about AppLocker. And I got a comment on another video from Kevin who was asking about AppLocker. I'm not sure this is going to be exactly what he wanted, but it's going to be about to use AppLocker in Intune. So very quick, what is AppLocker? Well, the name gives a bit of a hint. It can block apps and more actually. So we're going to look a little into that. So let's get started right away. So here I'm on a client. I'm going to create the rule set for AppLocker on this client, and then I'm going to upload it to Intune. I'm going to remove it manually and then redeploy, and we do a test. So the user case here is maybe not a valid one, but you have your own user cases. For some reason, I don't want the people to be able to use GIMP. And I definitely nothing against GIMP. It's a great graphic program, but I had to find something that was installed on this device that block. So right now, if I click on GIMP, it's going to open. Yeah, here it's opening up. And we want to block that for some reason, but this is just an example. You're going to easily change to whatever you want to block. So let's create this XML file for AppLocker. We will do that with the local security policy. So we can reach that by going sec-pol, local security policy. That's the same as the legacy group policy, but we are going to use this with the MDM. Excuses if this is a bit small. So just speak about some legacy. Here you see it says software restriction policy. That's from Windows XP. And it actually works on Windows 11 also. You can run, that's a legacy. The new one, it's AppLocker. That's the one we're going to do. So if we click here on the little arrow here, we get AppLocker. So here we're going to create a rule. We're going to block GIMP as mentioned. So first of all, I'm just going to go through quickly these four. So you can block on exe file, you can block on MSI, you can block on script, and you can block on package app roles. We're going to do executable file because GIMP as an exe file. So first of all, we have to enable that. So we can right click on AppLocker, and if we click on properties here, you see they are not configured. If they are not configured, they are already enforced, but I still want that because the XML file we export. So let's check this. So you have another value, and that's probably the one if you do production, do audit first. Audit means that when we block something, it won't really block it. It will just put the entry in the event viewer logger so you can see what would happen if you enable it. And then when you see that it gives the result as you want, then you change to enforced rules. I go directly enforce rules, but yes, use audit only first. So now this is going to add an entry to the XML file. If I left this unchecked, actually default do it enforce. So it's not a must, but it's good for the XML file because if it's set to audit, you need to have it changed to configured. So we set that first. Then you see here also, you must have application identity service must be running. So I actually have mine running, this application identity. If this one is not running, it was better to read it here actually. Disabling this service will prevent AppLocker from being enforced. So verify that this one is running. If not, do another policy to make sure that one is running. So that's a must for this to work. So let's create our rule here to block GIMP. So previously we could start GIMP. After we add this rule, we should not be able. So I right click here on executable rules, create a new rule. Then we just get before you begin. I'm just going to click next on that one. Permission. You can deny everything and then check allow, but I prefer to allow everything and deny instead. And what's nice here is that you can choose who should have it. I'm going to give it for everyone. I don't want anyone, but you could exclude, for example, admins so they can run certain apps. But in this example, we deny for everyone. What should we deny? You have three values here. Publisher, that's going to use the signing of the file. So it looks every file who's signed by this publisher we're going to block. Then you can do path also. So if it's on the C program files, GIMP and GIMP.exe, it block. But the problem with this one is that people can just move GIMP.exe to another folder to their desktop or like, and can run it there. So it's easier to go around for hacker for path. File hash is very secure. Each file on your system have a unique hash. So you can say that this file can't be run. The problem is if that file get updated by auto update, it get a new file hash. So file hash is maybe the most secure, but it's a lot of work. So publisher is pretty nice. If the file is signed and GIMP is filed, most files should be, then publisher is the best. So let's go next on this one. Then which file, so it's going to read the publisher of a file, so I don't have to type it in, and happy for that, because if I go here, GIMP2, and under bin, GIMP, here's the executable file. Now it reads the publisher, which is Jernej Simonik from Ljubljana. That's the capital of Slovenia in previous Yugoslavia. And here's the product name. All this, it reads from this exe file. So if I go next now, it's only going to block if it's signed by this publisher, have this product name, this file name, and file version. So if the file version update, then this won't block. So I go up one and say that asterisk, all file version. But probably if it updates, it's probably going to rename this to 2.11 or something. So I go up one more. This is going to cover all GIMP, even if it gets updated in the future to block it. So here, if you had Adobe, for example, you wanted to block that. I doubt that's not the common stuff you want to block, but if it wants, it's probably called Photoshop.exe, then you could have kept this, or modify here and put an asterisk. But for GIMP, I'm going to block. If the publisher is this one, then it doesn't matter which file name or version or location. This has nothing to do with location. So we are good here. We can go next. If we want to do an exception for this, maybe we have one file that it's published here that it's not GIMP, but using the same and want to run, we can add, but no, I don't have that. Name, I'll rename this, not so important, but I call it AppLocker GBN block GIMP or something. Blocking GIMP from running. Running. And now we create this one here. So now it's going to ask for 3 roles, default to run. So say yes to that one. And this is the one we created. And we said, yes, we got these 3. If you said no to that one, then it will look like this for you. No problem. You can get them back by just right click here, executable rules, and click here, create default rules. And these 3 are back. So they basically allow everything except then we have this one who deny. So now we want our XML file, and we can easily get that by right click here on AppLocker and export policy. And it's going to be an XML file, as I mentioned a million of times. I'll put it on my desktop, easy to find. I'll call it AppLocker GBN block GIMP exe or something. It doesn't matter what it's called. 4 rules, or 1 deny and our 3 default allow. And we could have created more things here and export that as well, but I just want to block. So now, if the service have taken in all the setting, we shouldn't be able to run it. It's maybe a bit too fast, or maybe not. Let's see. So before we could run GIMP, let's see if we can. Now it's blocked, and this is the whole goal. We wanted this to be blocked. Perfect. But now we have done this manually. We exported XML, so that's what we want to push with the Intune. So let's delete all these. I think we could just, didn't I see, where did I see we could clear everything? Clear policy. Yep, that's what we want, because so now everything is gone. So we are back to before. Let's see if we can start GIMP again, or if it still holds on to the block. Yeah, it still holds on to the block. Let me restart the service and see if it reads the new value and say, hey, you should not block anymore. What about now? GIMP, can we run it? No, still blocked. Let's wait a little longer then. Okay, it took some time. Actually, not that much, 3 minutes or so, and now GIMP can run again. So AppLocker has been cleared. But we want to block it again, but this time with Intune. So let's go to the second part now. We have the XML file. Where do I have it? I have it here. So if we look what that looks like, it has this part here, rule collection. That's the interesting part. So it says the type is exe. That's what we said. We enforcement mode we wanted to enable. This is the ID of the publisher. This is just my name. And this was the publisher name, remember, and product name, and then binary name anything and anything asterisk asterisk. And then here are the default allow rules. And we didn't put anything for MSI or script. Okay, so this file looks good. We're just going to take a part of this file actually. I think it's this part we're going to steal later. So for now, we keep it like that. So let's go to Intune. Well, I had it open here. So let's go to aka.ms-in, my favorite to get to Intune. And while we're in Intune, let's go to devices. Let's click Windows, because this is going to be only for Windows. AppLocker doesn't exist for others. And it's going to be a configuration profile. And we have a few already from previous videos. Let's create the profile. Platform is going to be Windows 10 or later. Select profile type. Here we're going to go with template. And for the template, we're going to go with a custom one. So let's create that. We're going to need to find the name. I prefix with GBM often, but I feel that a bit stupid since it's always the same. AppLocker, I can add GBM here. Block GIMP exe. Blocking GIMP exe from running. No good reason. Next. So here we need to specify an OMA-URI. It stands for Open Mobile Alliance Uniform Resource Identifier. You can get more information here. So here we can add our own. So here we need to know the URI for this one. Let's just put the name. We should be able to put any name here. Let's call it AppLocker block GIMP and blocking GIMP with AppLocker. So here we must know this one. I'm going to put it in the description, see if I can do it by heart. So they often start by ./vendor. Oh, I think it's important with the capital. It is important. Vendor. And the vendor is Microsoft, MSFT, Microsoft. Then the application is app, and the L in locker always uppercase. I see a lot of pro missing that. Then it is application launch restriction, and I hope I didn't do any typos here. And then it's lowercase apps. And then it's capital exe, and then it's / capital policy. I hope that I got that one right. I'm just going to open the notepad and paste it in. So .vendor Microsoft AppLocker application launch restriction apps exe policy. Yep. And the type's going to be string. Oh, there is a string XML file, and one would think that would be the one, but no, it's actually string. And here we have to copy this part only, rule collection where the type is exe to the end of the rule collection. So right click and copy. And of course, so I copy that. I'm going to paste that with a Control V. If you copy and this double quotation looks a bit funny because you copy from a web page, it's going to fail. So be sure that's correct. The same if you forgot the dot or you did any typo here, gonna get an error. See if I get an error. But for now, this looks pretty good. So this is the XML file we exported, part of it, what's needed. So let's save this one. We could add a lot more, but we have only this one. Let's go next. Then we're going to assign this. I'm going to assign this to all my Windows machines. It doesn't sound like a good user case, so you could do all devices. But when you test this, again, you shouldn't enforce it. You should have audit, not like I have enforced it, which means it doesn't really block. It just tells you that it would be blocked, so you see how it works. And then when you see it working, you enforce. But in this video, I go all in from the beginning and I take all my Windows devices. Then you can here have a rule to exclude or assign profile if, and you can say if property, for example, OS edition, don't assign it if it is an education or a Windows 10 mobile or something. I don't see that so useful, but nice to have. But for now, no, all that's are in the group. I want them to get it. Okay, so I assign it to 4 devices. I only have 1 online at the moment, so we're going to look at that. It's actually the same machine as I am on right now. Something that I forgot to show, but I don't think it's too late, is where this live. So if we go C colon Windows Systems 32, there is a folder here called the AppLocker. And no, I'm not too late. So you see it's only 6 files here. 5 with the extension AppLocker. If you open it's gibberish, you can't read it in the text editor. But when this one have applied, we're going to get a new folder under here called MDM with our settings, and we can actually see that. So let's see if it works. So this is going to take not that long time. Let me refresh to even see our guy here. Here's our AppLocker. And if we look who have got it, so far no one, but it takes like 3 minutes. It doesn't take that long time. But we're also going to see that when the folder MDM is created here, unless we get an error. And it's possible to get an error because a lot of typing and just one character will break this. Or any format of the XML, if I copied it wrong with space and stuff. So big chance that it failed, but we'll fix it if that's happened. Okay, back just 1 minute or so, and yes, it failed. So pretty good because that's often what's happened. So here we got an error. This, if we Google on that, it means probably done a typo somewhere. And I see that it's launch restrictions with an S. So mistake. I didn't do it on purpose, but I'm pretty happy it's happened because it's so common. So probably someone who followed this video might get the same. So application launch restrictions. You see it follow a pattern here. If it was for an MSI, it would be instead of exe MSI, but the rest is the same. Restrictions. Okay, so if we save this, hopefully it's going to be a success next time. Okay, that went really fast. I haven't refreshed here, but as you see here, we have got some new files, script, no, plugin, and this ID and MDM. So if we go here on the MDM and we click on this ID, AppLocker, application launch restrictions, apps, you see it follow exactly the name that we put in. So here we have policy. If I open this in the Notepad++, you see that it's the same file as we copied in here. So my guess is if I do a refresh, we're going to get a success here. Not yet, so it's faster, but it's next result should be a success because it's already here. Let's see if it's so fast that if I start GIMP, it's now blocked. It is. So the policy is working. I still would like to get the success showing up here. We already know it's working. Actually, it's remember the old error. What about now? It removed the little bar there. Refresh. The bar there was red, even though everything was 0. It's reporting back. I'll just do a little sync, just in case it's in a log file that has to go back. So while we're waiting on that, we're gonna see it. I'm not gonna end the video until we see this showing up as a success here. But before that, we can do a little recap. So AppLocker, yes, you can block software, MSI, whatever you want. You can block it for a few. As I said a few times, always run it in audit mode first so you can see what would happen. So if you do an audit mode, you can send it to all your computers in your company because nothing will be blocked. But then you can collect the information and see, okay, if I enable this, A, B, and C will happen. Okay, this will block it. That will not make this happy. So you have to modify, or it block what you actually want. But be sure to run an audit. Once the audit looks what you want, just change. I mean, basically, in this file that we open, enforcement mode, here it would be audit instead. You can just use the same file, you just change it to that it's enabled instead of audit, and then push it, and then it's going to block for users. Remember this service that has to be running also. Let's see, refresh. Come on, give me the success. There it is, success. It has been, and we already verified that a long time before here by going to where is the path? It's under C, Windows, System 32, App Data. Let's see, there, App Data. And then if you ever had an MDM, in the beginning you don't have the MDM, but if you have pushed one MDM, even if I remove this one, the MDM gonna stay here. So this one never gonna be deleted unless you delete it. However, wow, long path. However, this policy file is going to be removed, and also some other stuff's going to be removed. AppLocker, for example, this one's going to be removed. So we have successfully blocked GIMP, which is a bad suggestion, but or demo item. You can block whatever you want. The malware, if you know, it's not the best place to block, of course. You should have protection for that. But if there's a software that machines have that you don't want to start, AppLocker is your friend. So thank you very much for following along this video. See you in a future video. Have a good day. Thank you very much.